Greetings, everyone. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Ah, ah. All right, I'm gonna leave those here. Yo, I don't wear earrings. That's acupressure points for my eyes. All of this radiation and bright light in my eyes. Got to do something for that. Acupressure points, ears, hands, feet, throughout the body. But anyway, welcome to day 12 of the 30-day Master Your Life Master Class, where I share with you all of the great, well, many of the great simple tips that you can use to master this process called life and have these experiences in this wonderful body. We're going to do a brief recap today. We're all about the circadian rhythm and flowing in harmony with the nature of your body, being on time with time. So, with that, we're working with the organ clock, 12 sections or segments of the day, 12 2 hour segments of the day that each of the major organs functions optimally or has optimal energy and a prime time for you to be able to be in harmony and alignment with those organs to have them functioning in a supreme fashion, and in turn, have you function in a supreme fashion. So let me share my screen real quick. So, what have we been about? Okay, the first quadrant we covered in the first 6 days or so, 5 or 6 days. And the second quadrant we've just finished. So, on day 10, we went into the heart of the matter. And we talked about the heart and the alignment thereof and all of the energy that surrounds that as far as your activities and functioning of the day. From 11 to 1 p.m., 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is your heart time. So you have your lunch and you get that in. And then between 1 and 3 p.m. is a time for small intestines because after you've had your lunch, things move from the stomach after 2 hours into the small intestines, at least the things that you should be eating at that time of the day, which are your more fibrous foods, are your more dense foods that process out of the stomach in a 2 hour time frame versus a 20-minute time frame, like that stuff you have for breakfast, i.e., fruit, green smoothie without the protein, and so on. Now, then from there, we talked about on yesterday, the 11th, we talked about the bladder, excuse me, yeah, the 11th. We talked about the bladder. Now, small intestine processes fibers, rich foods. The bladder pulls things or gets filled from the processing of liquids by the kidneys, which will be in the next quadrant. So we'll talk about the kidney starting shortly. Um, so I just wanted to alert you all to the fact that we're basically halfway through the day as far as following our organ clock. And we talked about six of the major organs and some of the emotional aspects of those organs and some of the nutritional and beneficial activities that you should be doing in order to bring those organs into optimal functioning. Okay, so that's that. Now, I'm going to give a little more review, very slight. We talked about on day 10, wait a minute, wait. On day 9, we talked about the heart, of course, from 11 to 1. And we talked about some of the activities and we talked about some of the things we need to do to enhance heart function. We mentioned water therapy, and we talked about some of the issues surrounding the heart. The coagulation of the vessels of matter in the vessels, primarily cholesterol, fats, and all of those types of things, debris, um, waste that shouldn't should be flushing out that gets trapped there. And then we talked about certain nutrients that are beneficial to those vessels, to those organs, to the heart that help with moving that, clearing that cholesterol and what have you before it forms plaque. And we mentioned non-GMO sunflower lecithin, which is a form of phosphatidylcholine, which is also brain food. It's a fatty acid, so you want to get that in. Then we talked about on day 10, we talked about the small intestines and some of the things that goes on the small intestine. Excuse me, y'all. Got a little itch in my nose. So, wow, the nose knows what's going on. So, with the small intestines, we talked about the fact that within the small intestines, you have these little finger-like projections. They're really small. They're not the size of fingers, of course. They just kind of look similar to fingers. And they are covered with villi, small little hair-like projections that have that basically is where the gut bacteria is lives. Okay, and how the fact that if that villi is covered with plaque, similar to what happens in the vessels as far as getting covered with debris and plaque and what have you, it stops things from flowing. In other words, nothing gets down into the area where that good intestinal flora is flourishing, which is not good because, as we discussed earlier, you need that intestinal flora to be fed in order for it to create B vitamins. I'm not going to say solely, but I'm going to say up to a large degree or to a great, to a good degree. The reason why, one of the reasons why people are vitamin B deficient is because there's so much plaque in the colon that the gut flora does not get fed, so it doesn't create those B vitamins. That's a shame. So we talked about how to get rid of that plaque over time. It took time to build up. It's going to take time to get out. I mean, you can do the enema, you can do the colonic and all of that, galema and the other stuff. Um, but even if you do that, if you don't change your habits, you're going to wind up stuck again. And we talked about the whole dynamic of constipation. Wow, not being able to go. Okay, so we talked about fermented foods, and I mentioned one particular food that we actually can ferment. We're going to do a workshop on that. That's going to be part of one of the workshops that's going to come out of this series, and that is cabbage, 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 or as the gentlemen say, kraut, sauerkraut, sauerkraut. Kraut means cabbage. So, as one of the phenomenal foods, and I shared the video or link to the video in that recording for a cabbage cabbage preparation video that I did for my good friend Jorge over there at Fairfax Public Access. So that is how we deal with that. So you've gotten two things now. Each organ, I'm giving you something to work with. Sometimes more, sometimes, well, always something. And then we went on to the bladder. Now we talked about with the intestine, the small intestine, we talked about the constipation and not being able to go. Now with the bladder, it's another scenario that's quite the opposite. Not being able to stop from going because the flow just wants to flow. And because of an issue that they call incontinence, there's a lack of bladder control. We talked about the sphincter muscle and what have you, and how the tissue that makes up that skin tissue that forms the bladder has to be hydrated, has to be supple, has to be pliable in order for it to be able to be strong enough and have the integrity so that it doesn't leak. Okay? So, how do we do that? There's exercises, yes. However, we talked about mineralization. basically nourishing on a cellular level to a degree that allows for cell proliferation and the hydration and the pulling of water into the cells and holding it there by those tissue salts that are in the form of minerals. And we talked about a nutrient, a natural nutrient that can help with that. We talked about kelp. We also mentioned what's that word? What's it? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Sea moss. So when you're adequately mineralized on a consistent basis, you don't have to worry about incontinence. You know, and then there's other aspects of the bladder and so on. So that's our basic recap of all of what we've covered in the second AM quadrant of the organ clock. So, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share with your friends, get them over here because you know they need help. And that's what we're here to do, right? My mother told me you get your blessings from helping others. So, hey, you want blessings? Front end loaded. Be a blessing to somebody else. And I'm making it real simple. Simplest thing you can do to get your blessing today is share this information, share this video, and the awareness of the series. And also, you know, I do breath work. I am the breath master. So on Wednesday, I'll be having another breath circle mini master class. This breath fire circle. So I got a comment from, let me pull it up here. Let me see. Hold on. I got a comment on a video a couple of days ago from somebody who became a new subscriber, a new subscriber from, let me go to the comments. Hold on, bear with me now. Very interesting group of folks that I'm thoroughly impressed with, and I appreciate it. The acknowledgement in the comment section that they gave me, and I want to do something a little different in recognition of them. I'm going to share tomorrow, Wednesday, the 13th, a session where all I do is breathe the sound of the breath mastery technique. The reason why is because they deal with anxiety and panic attacks, and they're doing phenomenal work for a number of people for their audience. So I want to share something particularly to help their work move right along. Okay, I can't find it right now, but anyway, I'm going to share the breath master technique, and I'm just going to be breathing the entire time. So all you're going to hear throughout that entire time is so. If you join in, I'm going to suggest that you come in with a headset or open space with good acoustics, no activity in the area, so that you can just close your eyes and listen to the sound of the breath. The sound of the breath is so powerful that it relaxes you, it will lower your blood pressure. All you have to do is just listen, sit still and listen. It will take you into a spontaneous meditation. So I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. And on Thursday, the 15th, I will be doing a live broadcast on Instagram. The other one broadcast will be on Instagram Live as well. And I'll be talking about sexual and reproductive health for men and women. So If you hear this now, you're going to want to come over there on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I look forward to sharing with you guys some more phenomenal insights and opportunities to grow in health. Breathmaster A here, your global community elder, signing off. I thank you for your time, energy, and efforts to be the best you because we need you to do just that. The best gift you can give the world is a whole and healthy you. And as my shirt says, the best gift comes from the heart. I'm not repping the Red Cross so much as I am all about the heart.